Welcome to Live Action Podcast.
Something like that.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Welcome to Live Action Star Wars. I'm James.
I'm Ralph.
And today we are back, I think, doing Andor's Arc 2, episodes 4, 5, and 6 of Season 2.
Yeah.
And we are not doing it alone.
Nope.
Joining us this week, returning for the first time in a little while since Skeleton Crew, I guess. Adam.
We've returned since Skeleton Crew. We haven't done anything since.
I don't know where I am or who I am or what day it is. Welcome back to the show, Adam Frazier.
Hey, Adam.
Hey guys, how's it going?
For joining us. Yeah, all good, man. All good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Thanks for having me.
Good. No, always happy to have you back. We've been so out of sorts with me having a kid and Ralph being super busy with everything that it got to last week's episode and you popped up in the chat and we're like, have we sorted out an episode for Adam yet? Come on, we can't do a show without you.
I haven't sorted out anything for anybody.
First come, first serve. Everybody, get in there, get in the comments.
Yeah. We only have one person in the chat too, and that's StreamYard.
Always
there for us.
Welcome. Yeah.
I feel like StreamYard should just have their comment, their little sample comment, just say first.
That'd be great.
It's always there.
Yeah. I feel like that's something that internet 10 years ago would have been doing. That would have been the fun way of doing it then.
Yeah.
Now it'd just be like, I hate Star Wars. It ruined my childhood. If Star Wars is in the title of a video, it's just going to be something toxic. There you
go.
Yeah. Ian Hart's here as well. Andor's quickly becoming his favorite Star Wars. Dude, I think it became that for me a couple of years ago, and it's maintaining that position. Ralph, we know your opinion. It's not your favorite Star Wars, but it's a show that you love for being a show.
Oh, it's hands down my favorite Star Wars show.
Yeah.
My favorite Star Wars is Star Wars.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Motion picture from 1977. Watched it recently. Been doing a lot of rewatching of watched the Phantom Menace the other day. And I
started Revenge of the Sith for the anniversary.
I kind of wish I hadn't.
Really?
I kind of wish I hadn't.
How come?
Because in 2 days at the Academy of Motion Pictures, Art and Sciences or whatever, they're doing a 35 millimeter screening of Phantom Menace.
Nice.
And Patrick Kottner sent me the thing and I'm like, are you going? Because I'm home alone. Stevie had just left a couple hours ago. She's out of town for the weekend, and so I can go get up and do stuff, and tickets are $5.
Nice.
I asked Patrick if he was going. He said, yeah, I think so. But the last thing I told him was this will get me to go. I said, wait, it's 35 millimeter. Are we getting a puppet Yoda?
Right.
They're not making new print. Have they made prints of Phantom Menace since digital Yoda was created?
I wouldn't have thought so. They've been so in on digital that it's got to be the old puppet Yoda.
I'm gonna send him a text.
Huh.
If so, this will.
I haven't seen the puppet Yoda outside of in Light and Magic and stuff like that. I haven't seen a cut of the movie with a puppet Yoda since that digital Yoda was presented. So I wonder if it's sort of the same thing as the rest of the special editions, where that's the only version that's essentially allowed to be showed. But then again, we do have they're showing the original cut of Star Wars coming up, unless that already happened. I can't remember.
They were doing it in London as well. They were doing it. Yeah, they were doing it all over. I couldn't make it, but I wanted to. It would have been awesome to go to.
Yeah. The thing is, it's at 11, which is when I do my weekly Zoom game.
Oh yeah, of course.
Oh, man.
I'm sure the I don't know if you've ever made it public who that game is with, but I'm sure that those guys would understand.
No, they wouldn't. I don't think they would.
Yeah, probably not.
I feel like they're classic trilogy guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
Marissa and I watched episode 1 and 2, and then saw Revenge of the Sith in the theater, which was super fun. And then came home and immediately jumped into Kenobi because I hadn't watched that since it came out, since we talked about it. So, and at the time I was like, this is good, but perhaps underwhelming may not be the word, but I think maybe I was just expecting more out of it. I mean, at the time it was the shortest series, being 6 episodes and stuff like that. But revisiting it now, a few years removed, like it's pretty blown away by it. I mean, I enjoyed it at the time.
Yeah, I rewatched it last year, and I was like, this is a good show. This is like, yeah. It's weird. I shouldn't be surprised by this, but like, because we enjoyed it. I think we all talked about it, and we sort of sung its praises in the time and enjoyed it. But with so many of these shows, we go back to them, and it's like, yeah, it's fine. Like, and it's there. It's not ever begging for a rewatch.
Yeah.
But maybe that's just
the thing with the
stuff.
series.
I don't know.
I've only watched Andor season 1 once.
Oh wow.
I don't really rewatch stuff. But I think it's so hard because like I really when we're in hiatus don't care about Star Wars. I'm like, it used to be that's all I thought about, and it was like 3 movies, 2 Ewok movies, and a couple cartoons. Like back in the day, I would rewatch the trilogy over and over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And then I don't really get excited for new Star Wars. Even the trailers I haven't been super excited about. With Andor season 2, I was just like, I'm not going to watch the second trailer. So I haven't watched the second trailer. And it's just one of those things where it's like, I get excited on the day when I hit play.
Yeah. It's the best way to do it.
Today felt like homework because I just finished watching the 3rd episode. Because we're so busy. So we ended up because Stevie left this morning, we had to make sure that we watched all 3 like on Wednesday, because yesterday on Thursday we went to go see Thunderbolts.
Cool.
Nice.
Which after I saw Thunderbolts, I texted to my group. I'm like, one of you guys has a credit in Thunderbolts that's a spoiler.
Oh.
And so what I would say is, if you go and see Thunderbolts, which I highly recommend, it was really, really fun.
See, that's such strong praise, because I know how little you've cared about any of the Marvel movies for so long.
I realized I haven't seen I haven't seen Captain America, Brave New World. I haven't seen Marvels. I haven't seen Eternals. But the thing is, it was, if you look in the music credits at the end credits, Michael's name's in there. And if you know his body of work, you're like, I didn't hear that during the main portion of the movie.
Yeah.
But see, Thunderbolts, I loved it. And also the asterisks makes sense once you see the movie. And it's very, very fun. Have you guys seen it? Adam, have you seen it?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. It's
I'm
really
looking
fun.
forward to it. I'm looking forward to it. I doubt I'm gonna get a chance to go see it in theaters.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, Michael Giacchino, Jorge Garcia, Mick Giacchino, who showed up impromptu on our last finale of Skeleton Crew. So if you haven't watched that, Mick did a bang up job on the score for Skeleton Crew.
Yeah.
And it's really great music, and go watch him chat about the show. It's a lot of fun.
It was good. Yeah, it was nice. It was a good way of ending that season with like an exclusive chat with Mick. It was good.
Yeah. It's so funny because people like, I ended up going back and putting Mick's face on the thumbnail, and someone went through and was like, he doesn't show up till 28 minutes in our comments. I'm like, yeah, but me and James are cool too.
Yeah, look at us.
Patrick's great.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, if I was Patrick, I'd feel really I'm distracted by your cat, Adam. It's great. We've got a guest.
Yes, I'm sorry.
What does your cat think of Andor, this season in particular?
I don't think she's really paid too much attention to it. This is Janine.
Janine.
She's just but so, to sort of pick up there, like last time we spoke, I was in like a really sort of complicated place with Star Wars, right?
Yeah.
And overall, my feelings on Skeleton Crew are, it's fine. I enjoyed it. If it ends up being more important later, great. But I still believe it feels kind of disposable given the story. But, after doing the rewatch of the prequels, after redoing Kenobi, we did a rewatch of Andor season 1 as well to get ready for season 2. I'm feeling it again, and I've really been enjoying season 2 of Andor so far. I love the rollout strategy because you get this nice little, essentially a movie every week for 4 weeks, and it alleviates some of the problems or perceived problems, I guess, with season 1, where there was the feeling of, oh, this is kind of moving too slow, and
nothing happened this episode, or things
right?
And
really, this is more about arcs and arcs inside of arcs, and so being able to just hit play right after the next episode, it has really enhanced my enjoyment, I guess, overall of the series. But
yeah, we did the first of this arc. We did the first 2 episodes back to back, and then couldn't, just for like getting time for another like hour. We had to wait a day and then did the 3rd one separately. But still, it was like that's how we watch everything at the moment, because we're sort of stealing hours away from the baby.
Yeah.
That's how we did it this week. And Stevie still hasn't watched the 3rd one. I was watching it today while she was getting ready to split. This speaking of Obi-Wan, I want to get this kind of out of the way. Stuff like this usually doesn't bother me at all.
Organa?
Yeah. And I think it's for me, and like a gut reaction. Adam, I don't know if you got screeners for this, and if you got all of them. Okay. The thing for this, I'm like, why the fuck was it even there to begin with? And then I'm assuming, he's probably going to be in a lot more later. And because I was like, that scene was so pointless.
I mean, that's kind of the point of it. I think that the fact that it's a pointless scene, like after Adam, it was you who mentioned it, I think, in our comments last week, that it was Benjamin Bratt was going to be playing Bail Organa this season. It's a bummer, and I think everyone agrees that it's a bummer. And it seems like from interviews that Tony Gilroy has given this week, is like, we tried, man. Like we tried everything we could to get Jimmy around, but schedules just didn't work out.
I know how that is.
Yeah,
I've produced a movie. I've scheduled that stuff. It's hard to lock people down, but like, I didn't have Disney money. I didn't have Lucasfilm money. I don't have Lucasfilm technology. Like, go to his house, go in his garage, set up a fucking green screen.
That's exactly what George would.
It does not bother me. If this kind of thing normally
anyone else
bother me. The problem is this dude's been playing this character for over 20 years, and he plays this character before this timeline and after this timeline, and that's the thing that bothers me. And I know now Mon Mothma, Genevieve O'Reilly, is now in that same boat because she was in Ahsoka, which takes place after Return of the Jedi. But I mean, Mon Mothma was barely a character. Like, the Wolf Yularen in Star Wars is not the same Wolf Yularen as.
But it's barely.
but it's one of those things where it's just like, it kind of just looks like the guy. Like, it wasn't like a major role. And Mon Mothma was. It's fine. But it just bothered me so much. It bothered me so much. Like, how busy is Jimmy Smits? What's he up to right now?
According to Scott D, he's shooting stuff in California while they were filming in England.
My understanding, and it makes it even worse.
What else is in California? Lucasfilm.
Yeah.
Even worse, my understanding, this could be incorrect, but I had heard that the scheduling conflict was because he was shooting a procedural for CBS that then proceeded to get canceled after 1 season.
Oh, that's brutal.
So it's unfortunate.
That's really sad.
I'll be honest, it didn't bother me as much. I knew it was coming. People had told me about the recasting. And like you guys are saying, I feel like this was just a little insert scene to get you comfortable with the idea, because I assume in one of the next arcs he's going to have a more pronounced, role. But on the one hand, it sucks that they couldn't get Jimmy Smits, and he's owned that character for 23 years. On the other hand, I sort of think that stuff like this maybe needs to happen more in Star Wars.
I think if we get used to it, it won't be as bad. Yeah.
We are so loyal to these actors, and for good reason. They give great performances. They make these characters. But we're so loyal to these characters that eventually we run into dead ends with them. And Jimmy Smits, I believe, is like 69 years old, and he's running out of time to play this character in this space. And Benjamin Bratt's like 60 or 61, but still, he's going to have to hang it up eventually if we ever move out of this.
No, but here's the that's the thing that is, we're so close to, like, we know Jimmy Smits dies in Star Wars. We
basically at the end of the movie that caps off this series. Yeah.
Like, it's we're wrapping up. Anytime we need him, like, we don't need a flashback of Bail Organa. We may or may not. I don't know what the plans are for Bail Organa, the character, but it's like, you're this close to the finish line with, like, getting his complete arc.
Yeah.
And it's like the one thing where it's like, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is about this one. I really don't.
I think
any
other filmmaker, like, I think, would have done exactly what you've said, Ralph, which is just put him on a green screen and just shoot it. But I think for all the reasons that we praise Tony Gilroy in the practical sets and everything like that, is the same reason that he's like, no, if he's not available, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to make it with someone who's available. And I'm going to get the best person who is available. And from what we've seen so far, it's Benjamin Bratt looks great. I think he looks great in the role.
I mean, look, if theoretically you had to replace Jimmy Smits anyway, I think Benjamin Bratt would probably be the guy.
Absolutely. It seems like he's a good fit for the role. He reminds me vaguely of, like, a cross between, I mean, he's not a white guy, but like the costuming and everything, it's almost like the Bail Organa that was cut out of episode 1. Like, where it's a bit more decorative, the costume that we see here.
Yeah.
Whether they'll do that, like, going forward when we see him next arc or in the final
I think that was mostly party.
Yeah, it's party
attire. Dressed up for the party.
It's, I don't know. I'm with you, Adam. I don't have as big of a problem. I think it's because when you mentioned it last week, I dug into it. I saw the news about it and things like that, and then I saw the Tony Gilroy interview where he was like, "Yeah, no, that scene fully 100% exists in this episode to let people get it out of their system, let people have their talk about it now. It's the Don Cheadle moment in Iron Man 2. It's me. I'm here. Get over it. Like, let's move on."
That didn't bother me at all.
Yeah.
Even though I didn't see it, the Thunderbolt Ross thing didn't bother me at all.
I see what you're saying, Ralph. He's the only person who's played him in live action, but like,
and animated.
And yeah, he did. He came back and did the voices, didn't he? So he is Bail Organa, but like, we can have other people in there, and it opens it up, and it gets away from the grossness of digital replacements, which I feel like they've backtracked and they don't want to do now.
There's been such a backlash, especially, just in the past year, I would say, just with Gen AI and stuff, which I think people associate with deepfake, which,
always comes back to Rogue One. Rogue One is always the tip of that conversation whenever any of that stuff comes up.
Yeah, so I would not. I don't anticipate seeing Tarkin at all in this season. I think I think him showing up in Rogue One, just like Vader showing up in Rogue One, is kind of like the surprise, the treat. So it would make sense to keep them out of the proceedings here. But yeah, and going back to the point about recasting, if Filoni's movie is going to feature the original trio, are they going to try to go back down that deepfake route? I personally liked what they did with young Luke, and if they wanted to extend that to Han and Leia, I mean, we saw a young Harrison Ford in the most recent Indiana Jones. We know they can do it, but given the backlash and just the state of things, I don't know. I don't know if they'll go through with it.
It's weird, isn't it? It's interesting because they're so receptive to what people say, and they sort of try and please in reaction to that I don't know which way they'll go. I think Ralph and I both agree that we'd like to see Alden Ehrenreich do it if they were going to do an Heir to the Empire movie.
Agreed.
But I think that'd be a great fit, and just, you've got him, slot him in there, like, just keep him. He's almost at the age that Harrison Ford was then anyway.
Unfortunately, the actress that plays Clea looks so much like Leia.
Yeah,
it's insane. She would be great for that as well. But so this episode takes place BBY 3.
Uh-huh.
Okay, I looked up some other things that happened in BBY3 just
nice.
to sort of put us in the same spot.
What arc of Rebels are we at now?
Okay, so in Rebels, we are at Leia showing up with the Hammerhead Corvettes to help the Rebels on Lothal. The Rebels discover the Lasat homeworld of Lirasan. Cham Sandula and the Ryloth freedom fighters show up. Kanan
all
Jarrus
other rebel cells and more stuff that
and Maul is found alive on Malachor. So all that stuff's happening outside of Andor.
That's cool. It's more like disparate rebel cells that haven't become in a rebel alliance yet.
Right. Yeah.
Love that. This season of the show, for me, it just feels like for the maturity that Andor brought in season 1, it feels like they've stepped it up again in this season. It's like they are not messing around. They're doubling down. It's the confidence. I feel like it's what they wanted to do in season 1. They're like, we're gonna give it to you. We're gonna prep you for it, and it worked. And so they've been given the green light to just go like, we have all faith in you. Tell the story exactly how you want to do it without sugarcoating anything. And the fact that this is 2 weeks in a row now where we've had a rebel cell who are fucking idiots. And that's the point. It's the fact that idiots are dangerous and they get the competent people killed with their idiocy. Like Cassian got away last week by luck. He was trying to teach them. He was trying to be a leader and teach those guys how to be better at what they were doing because they're all on the same side. Vel and Cinta were trying to do the same thing here with the Ghorman front. We'll get into the machinations of the Ghorman front, I'm sure, in a bit. But they were trying to do the same thing here, and that one guy just not following the rules, not listening to the plan, just trying to be a hothead. And
thematically it packed a punch, but I thought, what a waste of Cinta Kaz, because she was one of my favorite characters from the first season. And the whole time sort of leading up to this season, just seeing her glimpsed in the trailers and stuff, I was like, man, I hope she really has more to do this season, or I hope she has a really kind of kick-ass moment, to hang her hat on. And then to just get killed and we don't even see the blaster, we just hear it.
She gets same with Grasso though, isn't it? It's the same. It's it's the loss of these people that we like and that we are attached to. It's like they're just going to be blinked out, and I am scared for Bix next week.
and it's like Luthen's monologue from season 1. Not everyone gets to see the sunrise, and Brasso and Cinta unfortunately are not going to be around to see this come to fruition, but their journey is carried on with Cassian. So that's kind of all we have.
With Brasso, it's tragic because he's just such a nice guy who's just wanted to help out. With Cinta, it's tragic because she gave so much for the rebellion.
And she had so much more to give.
She had more to give and was willing to give it all in the same way as Luthen. She could have given that same speech. She's like, I've given everything for this. She gave up the best relationship seemingly they'd ever had. As soon as they reconciled, I was like, she's dead. One of them, or at least, is dead this week.
Vel's monologue speech to that kid was so good. Some of the best writing in the series.
We were sat there and Liz was sat next to me and she's like, oh, Vel, just shoot them all, kill them all. Just end it. They're not worth it. But it's more cutting to just you are gonna carry this. This is on you, and you will never forget this one.
I mean, that truck's done, right?
It was just a great line.
Yeah. Sorry, Ralph, what was that?
That truck is done, right? There's something in the shipments. They talked about a cargo, a special package in that cargo.
I mean, it's got to be I don't know if we'll see it directly, but
they're
being tracked at least. We know that they're being tracked. They've been watched the whole time.
Yeah,
which is tough for the show is that we're expected to see. We're waiting to see what happens next, and you're will Bix make it? We're gonna lose another year.
Yep.
And the way I heard it or watched an interview with Tony Gilroy where it made it sound like each of these story arcs takes place over 3 days each.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they're not prolonged.
No.
So there's a lot of important stuff that can happen off screen. This Ghorman massacre that we all know about from Rebels, assuming hasn't happened yet, but they keep alluding to this Tarkin massacre.
Yeah, so that's the old Ghorman massacre. That's the one from
but that's the thing.
Legends.
That's something that's kind of covered up, and not talked about. So when Mon Mothma does her speech, is she saying like, "Oh, Tarkin actually did it," or is it something that's happening from the fallout of this?
So my understanding is that the Tarkin massacre was something that happened in Legends, and when
from an old RPG source book, I think.
Yeah, when they introduced that, when Mon Mothma in Rebels, when she talks about the Ghorman massacre, that was sort of a resetting of the canon. Like they were taking something from Legends and putting it into canon, like by name.
Yeah,
but it was suggested that, again, that was 2 BBY and not whatever 15 or 17 BBY, wherever the other one took place. Okay. So, yeah, unfortunately now they've canonized it to where Ghorman is going to have 2 massacres. And so
the tragedy is it repeats itself, and but it makes so much sense. It's like, because this thing has already happened, they're primed, they're ready. They're the French resistance. Like they're not trying to hide like the analogy with these guys.
And can we just talk about the fact that Tarkin landed a shuttle on top of 500 people? Like that's one of the craziest things.
Savage, yeah. That's like crazy. we hear it mentioned. We hear that like the Tarkin massacre, like things like that to begin with, and it's not until the bellboy explains what happened, that you get the savagery of it. It's like he was there. Like they thought they'd be safe in numbers.
Do you think there's like a Gimli Legolas thing between Tarkin and Vader, where Vader's like, "Well, I killed every child in the Jedi Temple," and Tarkin's like, "Well,
hold my beer."
Like, lands a ship on 500 people. You know, like Scott D in the chat is asking, "Do we think we'll see Mon's speech from Rebels in live action?" I do. I do. You know, we haven't got a lot of Senate action, Senate action yet.
One scene.
I think we're absolutely primed for Mon in a Senate pod.
She needs her speech.
Going off. Yeah. So,
the fact that her aide that we see in this is the same one that we see in Rebels, who like escapes with her.
Right. Yeah, true.
Which is super cool and nice little touch. We said it last week. This show does, like, this show is what Story Group should be like hanging their hat on. Like, this is what they do perfectly. It's shit that doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of telling a good story. It doesn't matter, but it's like hey, this is that guy. Hey, this is that event. We're picking and choosing when it's relevant for the people like us, and it's really we're the only people that care about this, and it's fun. The rest of it doesn't matter where this base is, but for us, we go, that's where the Resistance will take up shop. Of course, it's an old rebel base. Like,
and
it's like
go ahead.
It's like Tony Gilroy is like, I need a linchpin. I need something. And Story Group's like, hey, there's this Ghorman massacre thing that happens around the time. If you're looking for something, this is what it is. And so it's like it's almost like me on this show. Like James is usually my Story Group, where like I like just talk about the show and like the sort of nitty gritty of the story, and then
throw in this detail, throw in that detail.
Like, is that from a book?
And sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. And when it is, like the stuff that they've thrown in here, it's stuff that is like Ghorman Massacre. That's just a name. Like you can fill in the details. Like go. Like it doesn't matter. It's just a planet with like you give us the details, and it's like a D&D campaign where you're working well with your dungeon master. Where it's like, here's a thing. Tell me about it. Tell me what happens. Like I will give you a title of a thing. It's good. Like I'd love to see a whole documentary about the writing of this show. Not just because of the amazing monologues, but because of the collaboration that the show is doing.
Yeah.
Everyone loves to give Tony Gilroy all the credit, but it's like, and he deserves it. But like everyone else involved. It's
but like the plotting, it as much bullshit jargon and fancy words and Star Wars shit that they throw at you, it's still easy to track, and you still know everybody's motivations, and the way that he sort of fuses all these stories together to the point where like there's not really an action scene in this episode. They're just pulling crates. They're just pulling crates up. There's no action. When they none of that's in this. This is a Star Wars. There's no action in this last episode. But between Clea trying to undo the thing,
and tension in that scene.
But that's really the thing. Hitchcockian filmmaking with
brilliant.
But that's the thing. Like there's no action. They blew up the thing pretty unceremoniously, got in there, no resistance.
And like the explosions,
the troopers show up.
Yeah.
We see the troopers show up at the end, but there's no action. But the climax of this episode is so riveting. Yeah. And it's because every single person's motivations, everybody's what it means to everybody else for things to work.
Yeah.
What Cyril's like, oh, someone's been shot. But
it's when he ducks down and he's like, shots fired. And he's like, there's one shot. Like that's the amount of it. It's like, that's amazing.
And but the fact that Dedra has eyes on, like everybody has eyes on this, but the people who like created this thing and are invested in this thing and need to know how this thing turns out, they're at a fucking dinner party talking about art with the guy building the Death Star. And very passive aggressive conversation,
debate,
fake laughing, fake being cordial, like not real. And it's just like, I'm like, this is so fucking crazy that how do you, in your brain as a writer, come up with this story to be like, okay, and then at this point, this is where everybody's at. And what's crazy is the titular character has nothing to do with it. Andor doesn't show up in this last episode except for like maybe 3 or 4 minutes tops.
Yeah,
and
I was thinking that all the way through this last episode. I was like, the show's Andor, and we're 2 arcs in, and he has not been the main character yet of either of them, and it doesn't take away from it at all.
But what's great about the writing is Andor at the beginning of this episode says his piece to Luthen about Ghorman, and he says it's stupid, it's worthless, you waited too long. Nothing good is going to come of this. I'm out. Yeah. And then now it's us watching. Okay, now we see how it plays out without Andor, and he's pretty much saying how everything is going to shake out. Yep. And it's just like the writing is so good. His looming presence and that scene is still felt during the whole like last half hour of the 3rd episode. So the writing, I don't know how they must have a whiteboard just fucking full of post-it notes, just like the way it comes together is crazy. Also, since this was like supposed to be 5 seasons or something, like it was
initially it was conceived as that,
yeah. And this second season, I've seen people complain about this. It got truncated to where they do each year is 3 episodes. So to be able to take all those ideas and shrink it down into, an hour and
tight.
Like an hour and a half or 3 hour chunks.
Yeah.
It's like I almost like
the efficiency of storytelling. It's the efficiency of storytelling.
So good.
I think you've got it from that scene at the end, and you get it from Cyril when he's walking into his office. Like you're getting the conversation with his mum, and you're getting all the exposition that you need about the place, and then you come to realize that he is putting on a performance because he's trying to trap into like the Ghorman front and everything like that. It's like it's layers upon layers, and it's so cleverly done and so well done.
And I was just gonna say thematically, like the absence of action, like totally makes sense in that essentially Rogue One is them, the Battle of Scarif is like them winning their first victory over the Empire.
Yeah.
And so, they can't really be running and gunning and doing a lot of like obviously there aren't going to be any space battles or anything like that, throughout Andor. So it would make sense that it's these small hit and run kind of things. And then ultimately, with whatever happens with the Ghorman massacre in the next arc, because we do know that happens in 2 BBY.
Yeah.
So that will be in the next arc.
That's next week. It's coming.
No one's winning on there's not going to be any heroic action, I don't think, on the good guy side of things. I think everybody's going to take a beating.
Well, the fact that Luthen and Dedra are working on the same plan. Like, I think I said it last week. If I didn't say it on the podcast, I was saying it like off pod. But like, they are pushing for this exact same thing. They need
They all want the
Ghorman. They want the Ghorman rebels to go in, start some shit.
That's what's so
and
fucking
to fail.
Nice.
It's
so good about this.
Yeah,
it's so good watching them too, especially with her listening to Cyril and listening to the battle from there, and Luthen not. Just Luthen going on pure faith that his plan's going to work.
Yeah, yeah.
Which
he's got the arrogance of the Imperials. Like he's got that thing. Yeah.
And look, I don't know for sure that Luthen dies, but I think we all have to assume that he's going out by the end of this season because he's not around in the original trilogy, and Mon Mothma is very clearly installed as sort of the leader of the rebellion. And
there's someone else in charge of rebel intelligence as well. Like
I
have a theory. It's wild. I don't know if any of this matches up because I don't read EU. I don't know all the ins and outs, but I keep wanting this to be the case, and you guys are going to be able to tell me that it's stupid because it's there. You know more than I do. But every time I see and hear Luthen, I'm like, what if he goes into hiding and changes his name to Lor Santeca? And that because he feels there's something about his accent and his raspy voice that remind me of Max von Sydow.
Yeah.
I think they're both from like the Netherlands, maybe.
They're both Scandinavian. Yeah, like they're both.
Yeah. So it's one of those things where I'm like, that would be kind of cool to see if just Luthen made it through this and survived through just have made it all. We just never saw him.
So, all right. So to do the story group thing, the Santeca clan have been around for hundreds of years. They helped chart hyperspace lanes throughout the galaxy. They're a really important family in Star Wars. They he's the latest descendant or the last one of those. There's no reason that his name isn't Santeca already. Like he could be Lord Santeca. It doesn't need to change.
Here's the thing.
He's the only person who's using his real name, quote unquote, maybe, as his cover. Like he uses that with the rebels, and he uses that as his shop name. Like, so maybe it's all just
probably not his real name.
But here's the thing, though. He thought it was. He said that he thought it was really cool that Cassian had a really cool fake name.
Yeah.
Like a really cool cover name for his trips. Like he's like, oh, that's a good one. Yeah. So like maybe he's like, oh, maybe being someone else is kind of cool. Maybe he does take on the name. But anyway, for me, that was one of those things where it's like, this show can subvert expectations by not killing Luthen off because we all assume he will be killed off. Essentially, and we assume that Bix will get killed off.
Yeah.
We assume that we assume that anybody who's not in the original trilogy or beyond is dead in the show. That we already know the outcome of Andor, so that's kind of nice because you get some tense moments. You're like, will anybody make this out alive? But
I think
maybe they do.
I think that I actually think that Bix is going to live because she's been through so much already.
It's been bad.
It's been real bad, and I think you might need to give her something of a happy ending.
And she got a happy ending this episode, but it's like that trauma doesn't go away with killing that guy. Like that's still there.
And so I could, and look, we left B2 Emo. We left him. And I could totally see them reuniting and waiting on Cassian to come home, and he never comes home.
So I was thinking this
to be their ending, but who knows?
I was thinking this today. I was just walking the dog this morning, and I was thinking about the show, and I was like, it would be more tragic. We know that the last arc they've gone out on a limb and said like this last arc of this season will lead directly into the movie. Like I expect. Like one of the last scenes that we see, at least the last scene that we see of Cassian will be on the ring of Kafrene. We got the Kafrene name drop at the beginning of this season.
Do we get a hologram of Jyn Erso?
maybe, or like because it's K2 and what's his name from Narkina 5, who like they are the ones who pull Jin out of the prison transport. Melchi, yeah, they pull her out. So maybe Cass sends those two. He sends those two off to go and get her while he goes to talk to his informant on Kafrene. That's where it cuts. I was thinking, like, we know that that's going to be the end of the season to lead directly into Rogue One. What would be more tragic is if we got like essentially like fake deleted scenes from Rogue One, stuff that is happening when they get back to the Yavin base. What if Cass is going and like checking in on Bix and Luthen? Maybe like he talks to Luthen and Bix, like while Jin is talking to Mon Mothma or whatever, before Cass walks into that room, and he's like, "Don't worry, I'll be home soon. It's just a quick run to this place. I just got to go and shoot this guy in the head. It's fine. I'll be home." And or like when they're doing their let the girl speak like conversation at the end, and Melchi steps up. He's like, "Yeah, I'm coming with you to that beach. That looks awesome." Bix is like, "I want to go too." He's like, "No, I need you to stay here. I just need you to stay behind on this one. Like, please." That'll be the tragedy. And I heard some people talking about it. It's like, yeah, but what does that do with the Jin of it all? Like, and their moments in that? It's like, there's no romance between those two. And if they intended there to be romance, they failed in that movie. But I don't see anything romantic between Jin and Cassian when I watch Rogue One.
I think there's a lot of people that are like, they look into that scene and they see what could have been.
Yeah.
Like if they didn't die, in that moment. And I think that's valid, but I would agree that I think what we know of Cassian just in that movie up to that point, like we know that he's lost a lot of people and that he's not going to get attached.
He lost some of his humanity, and I feel like Jin like gives that back to him throughout that movie. It's like that's the whole point. Is that's the hope punk like meta, like the whole theme of that film is like it doesn't fucking matter how much you lose. You keep going. You keep pushing forward. You keep going, and them hugging at the end is like we're done. We are. This is over. We've died, but we've got it through. The message got through, and it's the climb. It's everything that is in season one. Like almost every arc of season one of Andor has climb as an ongoing thing, and then it's K2 gives it in Rogue One. It's like it's the word that describes all of Andor and the story.
In last week's arc, Bix says something to the effect of like that she doesn't want to die unless she knows they'll win.
She wants it to mean something. Yeah.
That's
it. Like, and it's
they have to win.
Yeah. And there's the scene in one of these episodes when Luthen is talking to Cass, and Cassian's getting annoyed at him, and it's the you're thinking like a spy, you're thinking like a thief, I'm thinking like a soldier, think like a leader. He is already doing that. He's trying to give leadership advice by saying like these people aren't ready. Like leave this one alone. This fight is not a good fight. And it's all like he's really, really trying, and he's getting there, but it's for nothing because Luthen seems like so convinced. Like this version of Luthen at this point, he's getting more desperate and he's clutching at more straws because that clock is ticking. He doesn't know about the Death Star, I don't think, but he's like it you can feel it, like, and he's plugged in. He can feel it all ramping up.
I loved the line when they're leaving the party, and Luthen tells Clea like, "Oh, we should have just killed Krennic while we were up there."
they have a little bit of a laugh, and it's like, fuck it, and it's like, oh, dude, if you only knew, like the sweet irony of that is like, I don't think it would have stopped the Death Star happening. That was happening regardless, but it would have certainly put a spanner in the works.
I'll tell you someone who's not going to make it while we're on this topic. Don't think Willman's going to make it. He's already looking a little strung out. He's hanging out with crazy ass Saw Gerrera. And
Saw, who we've still got two legs. Like, so are we going to see Saw get a leg blown off? He's not huffing directly.
Not huffing.
The Rhydonium, the fuel, like it's as soon as he convinces Will to take off that mask, it's like well, you're going full anarchist cookbook
And
now. Like, yeah.
I love how Pluty, the guy that they were training to do this whole thing, which was hilarious. It was like a lock picking mini game in a video game.
It's
kind of
like
what
the
it felt like,
Link, wasn't it? It's
yeah. But trying to teach him all that stuff, and then he asks for more specific information, like in terms of where the hit's going to be, so he can do the sequence right. And Saw immediately kills him. Now, we have no idea if the guy was really Imperial or a traitor. Saw tells that to everybody.
Yeah.
And then Two Tubes very quickly reaches into the guy's pocket and pulls something out and says, "Here's the proof."
Convenient,
isn't
it?
Okay,
yeah. It's a bit
so
planting evidence. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like it's one of those things that it's like he's not rolling with Bor Gullet yet. Otherwise, Bor Gullet would have been in there straight away. Yeah.
But I feel like Saw's going to lose his leg in the time jumps. Like we'll see him on Jeddah, and then he'll be he'll be more
off the deep end. Yeah. It makes Cassian trying to find Saw in Rogue One even darker, because you got to think he probably knows that his buddy Willman went to Saw Gerrera and probably never came back from working with Saw Gerrera.
Yeah.
But it's like, shit, I sent this kid off here. Maybe I'm going to get to see him again. Okay, cool. Here's my link to Saw Gerrera. We can get him, because that's the only reason they needed Jin at the beginning there. And then, I
was just going to say, going back to my criticism of season 1, which is not a lot of aliens, certainly not a lot of aliens in big parts contributing to the story in meaningful ways. Here we are again. We get all of Saw's partisans. It's great to see Two Tubes again. It's great to see Moroff.
Yeah.
Would it kill someone to give these guys something to do?
Yeah.
Like Moroff just walks back and forth in the background for 3 scenes. Like
so he does in Rogue One.
If you're gonna kill this Pluty guy anyway, who is just a generic white guy who literally looks exactly like the same white guy from the Yavin arc.
Yeah.
For a second I was like, is that the same guy? Like just a guy with stringy hair and a beard. If you're just gonna kill this guy anyway, could we not have made him a cool alien?
Yeah. Yeah.
Can we not at least paint him blue or something? There's so many humans in this story that I get it. You're trying to ground this story of rebellion and make it, quote, more, relatable.
Tie it to New Hope and stuff.
Galaxy of billions of planets and species.
So many of them being oppressed.
Have something to give.
Yeah.
And
so speaking of which,
sidelined through all of this.
Speaking of which, though, let's talk about the Senate scene. Who is that dude?
Who is that dude? I was like, when we got the wide shot, I was like, oh, cool, we're gonna get to see Masamida. Masamida's giving a speech or whatever. It's like, no, it's another alien giving a speech and just basically giving the Pledge of Allegiance. It felt like it was just like, oh, this is all very gross.
And and I totally get that they're reusing a lot of Neil Scanlon's creations from the Creature Shop and stuff. There's a lot of creatures that are specifically from the prequels, those species and stuff. We're not seeing a lot of the classic Star Wars creatures. And I know K2SO is showing up, and that's great. We'll have a droid representative at some point. But, where's my Chewbacca? Where's my Neenub? Where's my Admiral Akbar type characters?
Sullustan would have been
alien representatives in this story.
That's what I'm hoping to see is Radis. Where's Radis?
Radis would be cool. Radis would be good.
I'm assuming Radis has to show up.
That would be nice.
I mean, don't assume too much. It would be nice, but I wouldn't bet on it. I don't think. It would be cool though. But yeah, a Sullustan would be a really nice fit. I think in that fit with Saw Gerrera. Just execute a little Sullustan.
Yeah.
Have him laugh and then just go bang. Yeah.
But it's I guess it's a relatively small complaint, but when I think of Star Wars, I think of immediately it's Han and Chewie together. It's Luke and Yoda on the same level talking to each other, and there isn't really any of that to be found in Andor, which is kind of crazy when you consider when it's all said and done here, it's going to be 24 episodes. Like
we got a bit of it. We got
4
like,
hours of Star Wars.
Yeah. The most we got was when Mon is trying to like whip votes in her favor, and we're getting that montage of her, and she's chatting to all the different senators and things like that. It's like that was nice, but yeah, that's the most that we get of any of it.
They're just sort of window dressing. It's like to the
galaxy's
Gilroy
wide
group.
When you're in the Senate. Yeah.
So the Gilroy group.
It's funny to me.
No, the story is about humans, and we'll just throw an alien in to make you happy.
Yeah.
What's funny is there's so many droids and aliens and skeleton crew.
Yeah,
it's true.
Yeah,
and
I gravitate towards it. That's so funny.
I know. Mainly it was
we got to get these guys together.
Mainly it was the Amblin-ness of it all that I think.
Yeah.
And this goes across the board. I wasn't the biggest fan of the space suburbia. And in the case of Andor, I'm not the biggest fan of that like Good Morning Coruscant thing.
What with
That felt way too holiday special and not in a good way.
They look
the costuming vibe they've created in the show. Like
I loved it, but it's weird. It's in this show.
Yes,
exactly.
It's weird. It's in this show. I love it. It needs to. I feel like it needs to be. I was expecting to see Ghorman, like a cooking segment on that show, which totally fits in.
Yeah,
with the holiday special, because I literally said out loud. I said, "Holy shit." To Stevie, I'm like, holy shit, this is holiday special shit.
Yeah,
like, this is like
the costuming and the wigs and everything. Yeah,
but but for me, I was like, I absolutely love this. I don't hate it in the show, but it's just weird that it is in this show. Of all shows, it's in this show.
I thought it was interesting because of the use of it. It's Alex mentions it's the mother watching here. I think it sort of leads from that, and it's Bix all strung out on the floor, like just hugging a gun, and it's like I don't know. I don't know if you guys can relate, but like we've all had nights like that when we've been on the floor, either shit-faced or indisposed in other ways, when like you're just leaving something running, and it's like I'm not watching this. I'm just like, yeah.
And I think that's exactly the thing that sort of bothered me is like in a movie like Train Spotting. Like Ewan McGregor's like strung out on drugs and just watching some morning show. Totally get it.
Yeah.
But Star Wars, like there's a line for me and I can't articulate it completely, but it's like Star Wars obviously mirrors our reality, but when it mirrors it that specifically, I actually start to not invest in it as much because then it's like, because when you think of original Star Wars and you think of Luke on the farm, like there's no cell phones or tablets or phones or TVs or, no one's watching.
Season 1 was the first time we ever saw like a TV, wasn't it? I think we talked about it.
Owen and Brew aren't watching The Hollow. You know what I mean? And so like to go from that sort of understanding of what Star Wars is to now like we're updating it and now everyone has personal devices and everybody's watching screens and stuff. Sometimes it loses me a little there, but
I think they've done it well enough for me because when we've seen that it's been on Coruscant, it's like it's been stuck to like this is like the metropolitan area, whereas Luke's a farm boy. He's out there in the sticks. Like they don't have them there. They might have a transistor radio or something like, but these guys, they're watching TV. They're watching breakfast TV. They're watching like, fluffy puff pieces and like Fox News.
But
like,
what's fun is they're also like not even flat screens. They're like
CRTs.
They're like
monitors.
So like that's where they are as far as like entertainment goes. I'm totally fine with it. I just think it's a weird choice for Tony Gilroy to be like, let's put some stupid shit in here.
I just think like imagine now like if we made Return of the Jedi now, right? And at the end of Return of the Jedi, there's the fireworks going off and they're cutting to different planets, and all of a sudden it cuts to some guy on Coruscant with a microphone while the statue's falling down behind him. He's like, I'm here at Coruscant and you won't believe what's happening. Like it just doesn't feel right to me.
I mean, what about the commentators in the pod race of episode
never
1?
felt right to me either. I didn't like the ooh ah thing. I think that might be mostly grapefruit.
How are they broadcasting? Are they audio?
Yeah, I would have thought so. I always assumed they were like
the tablets. The Padme has the tablet.
I don't like the droids playing American football in Attack of the Clones either on the big screen. It's just always been a weird thing. I think
I never liked the fact that Anakin didn't
stick to it. But.
Anakin doesn't even give a second glance at that pod race. Like that
I would
always
have
bugged me.
loved
I was like,
that would have been so good.
All
Just
he
the
needs
shot
to
of
do is
him watching the pod race.
like
Speaking
walking
of pod
past,
races,
but like keeping his eye on it. Yeah.
Speaking of pod races, we catch a couple dudes, a couple
Yeah,
like
watching a pod
Imperial
race.
security guards
Yeah.
watching a pod race, and 100% Sebulba's still out there racing.
Was that Sebulba's pod? I didn't know.
It was Sebulba's engines. You can definitely hear
that's
Sebulba's
awesome.
engines.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. What a great noise.
Which I kind of was like, okay, I'm kind of down with knowing that Sebulba's still at it, you know.
I mean, racing drivers
15
always
years later,
go
whatever.
like old though, don't they? Like they don't need to be. It's not a young man's sport, racing. Like you can get a
Right.
bit older in that. Like yeah.
But I'd love to go in and hear and listen to see what other racer sounds they used, because you know they're not just throwing in any pod racer sounds.
They're pulling specific ones from the archive from like, Ben Burt's library.
Speaking of which, Jacob Fullerton was on last week. He was talking about a video that he did on Astro Goblin Plays, their Patreon thing about pod racers. And
yes, I heard that.
You heard it, yeah. So it's which pod racers they rank the pod racers and who would give the best head, and it was a fascinating study. I know
Ryan Haley is a unique individual.
I know you have to go in and like go into their Patreon and like do it. I think it's like I don't know which tier it's at, but I started just watching it, and then Stevie like during Stevie's lunch, and then she had to leave for lunch, and she said, "Can you pause this so I can finish it later?" I'm like, absolutely. Like we were just riveted.
Yeah.
And yes, Dud Bolt is at the bottom, and Dud Bolt, but the other ones that they put alongside Dud Bolt, I'm like, oh, I guess that makes sense.
Sure,
that makes sense. Oh, and there was just so there is a stipulation. Non-human was the one stipulation as far as pod racers go. Yes,
good.
We don't thought of everything. Dude, if you get a chance, go check it out. It's fascinating.
It's the sort of conversation that I really hope that Perrin was having in the back corner of that party.
Yeah.
In addition to the little podcast, other things that I thought were kind of fun and new were seeing essentially a Coruscant convenience store or like a grocery store, and like just seeing all the, because like you
got to get the cereal somewhere.
Yeah,
in your average TV show, if someone's going to the grocery store, you just shoot in a grocery store. It's fine.
Right.
But here you have to create everything. You have to create every label and every melon and things like that. So it's just cool to see all that stuff in there.
I know a couple of people in our audience can read Arabesh. Yeah, I've got them on my arm and I can't even remember the word. I can read Arabesh like just straight up. I didn't do like the translation or anything like that, but like if the name of that shop was Quick Stop, it would be quite fun. Like I'd be fine with that. Nice. That'd be a nice little touch. Oh, there it is. It's that time.
All right. Stevie has an alarmo.
Yeah, and just the mundanity of their lives that they were living on Coruscant was interesting. Like Cassian is so paranoid, he's turning into Luthen because he's paranoid about being recognized. Like they are regulars at this shop, so they got to stop going.
The whole scene talking about going out for a walk, and there's too many cameras. To that arc getting to this point where they go out for a walk, probably where there's definitely cameras. That just decide to raise their own hell.
The mission is shot.
I mean, that was the mission. Like that was that mission that like when the beacon was lit, and it's like I feel like that was a gift from Luthen. It was like, here you go. Here's one that like will hopefully get you right. Like we need you now, and go and get your win. I don't think he knows quite how like trauma works, and that's not going to be a fix. But hey, Bix was smiling at the end. She seemed chuffed, and she seemed, because she was at the beginning of this arc, she was like feeling traumatized about killing a guy because he saw her face.
Right.
Cass had to kill that guy because he saw her face. At the end of this, she's just gunning people down. Like she's fully in now, and it's what Luthen and Cassian were saying. Cassian's saying to Luthen, "Like I've given you everything." Luthen turns around, and is like, "This is everything? Like you've given me shit." And it ties into the speech from season 1, and now they're getting to the point where they're giving everything. They are willing to sacrifice everything except each other at the moment. And I think that's what Luthen doesn't want connections. He doesn't want people having connections. I don't think he wants Vel and Cinta to be together.
Well, yeah, of course.
Why they sending them off on different missions. He doesn't want
Vel.
It's interesting how these sort of things are following the Jedi teachings of like no attachments, and how attachments only lead to
dangerous
suffering. And
Yeah.
not only that, but I was thinking that as well when I think the character's name is like Sam with 2 M's or something. The kid that kills Cinta. They were told they didn't need blasters.
Yeah. 2 of them with blasters. The 2 trained people will have blasters. That's it.
He brought a blaster, and it's just like Luke taking his lightsaber into the cave on Dagobah. Like you brought it with you, and you caused this to happen. And if only you would have listened and not brought it, would be a different story.
Yeah. And it fits with the rest of Star Wars, but it also feels so of the time. The show of the time, it feels so prescient. It's like all of it does, and it's like the politics of it definitely, but just that sort of stuff. It's like, just don't be carrying guns around. Like you take your gun somewhere, someone's going to get shot. Like it's not going to go well.
Between George Lucas's prequels and this, it's very, very interesting to watch now.
Yeah.
And Andor is just happening as like the world is happening. I feel like Val is done. I think she's going to get killed in the Ghorman massacre, and I think that is why Mon Mothma is so. Mon Mothma is already done. We saw that when she left the Senate. She's like, "Fuck this." But this is really going to be a tipping point where Mon probably just
says fuck
cuts her hair short, stops going out into public, and just goes to Yavin 5. It's going to be the thing that really, really gets her going.
Do you think we see her and Perrin split, or do you think she just gives this speech and gets shuffled out of the Senate by whoever, and like they just don't ever have a split moment where it's like she's just gone and she's with the rebellion now?
Yeah, I think so. Like because when we pick up with her in Rebels, right? Like she's sort of on the run with them, right? Like she's
that's immediate. That's immediately afterwards. It's like she's given that, and then she's been shuffled off. They've got her off world, which I think some people have come up with a theory that it's going to be Cassian that has to get her off world, and I'm into that. I think that'd be a good fit. Like, and that's why she knows Cassian. She's able to introduce him by name in Rogue One, so they definitely have had more direct interactions. But if he's the one who delivers, her to the Ghost Crew, that'd be great. Like,
will we see the Ghost Crew? Can you imagine seeing the Ghost Crew in the show? I don't.
It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. At most, we might see the ship, but like, I think more likely.
Ralph, you just answered your own question because the Ghost Crew has 2 aliens in it, and they're not going to put alien main characters in this show.
Here's the thing, but this is what I'd like to see. This is what I'd like to see more than anything. Freddie Prinze Jr. Just a one, like we've seen all the Rebels crew in different series.
Yeah,
give us Freddie.
Just give us Freddie in some
on the other end of a comm. Like we know, obviously, Hera's the one who talks with the Rebels more directly. But like, if Claire puts a call through or something, it's like we need blah 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 blah, and it's
his voice.
Kanan on the other end of the comm saying like, we'll be there, don't worry, we'll be there. Like,
oh fuck,
that'd be cool.
That'd be so
very cool.
One thing I want to touch on,
non-Tony Gilroy to me is any sort of like fan servicey bringing people to. It's so not that, but
no, and I think those characters, because they are Filoni characters and sort of flowing under that umbrella, obviously Zeb's going to be in The Mandalorian and Grogu, and I'm sure we'll see them in Ahsoka season 2, and might even get a flashback with Freddie Prinze. That would be cool in Ahsoka season 2.
I really want to see him in it.
I don't know if we said it on air last week, but like a Force Ghost, Freddie Prinze as Kanan, I'd be down for it. Like, let's just
cool.
throw him in there. It'd be cool.
Because we do hear his voice in Rise Skywalker, right?
Between words. Yep. Yeah.
One thing I wanted to touch on that we haven't really talked about a whole lot is sort of the relationship between Dedra and Cyril, and like them installing him as this lure for the Ghorman front. him going undercover as a sympathizer, but then him going back to Coruscant and reporting. And when he meets
so pleased.
Partagas, it's like he describes it as the greatest day of his life, and I can just like feel all the
right in front of his girlfriend.
Yeah.
I could feel all the skin falling off Dedra and me at the same time.
They are so awkward, and like the turn the lights off moment is like, oh, it's so.
As a reward,
dude, what was funny?
He gets 1 hour of alone time.
Yeah.
I swear to God, as soon as they were left alone in ISB, I thought she was going to say, "Turn the lights off."
That'd have been great.
You know, it's funny. There's some of that going on the other side too, because when Cassian comes back from his trip undercover as Varian Sky, him and Bix start making out, and she says, "Oh, you'll have to bring him home sometime." And it's like this whole role playing thing is happening.
The difference between the two couples, it's like one is so ice cold, rigid, like we do care for each other, and the other one, they're super horny. Like it's. In general, this is the horniest Star Wars that there's been. Is this show like they are going for it, and it's like good. This is great to see this sort of passion, but like, and the what is it? She says she regrets every moment they weren't together when they were on their outs. Like it's like this lovely. It's going to be tragic when she probably dies.
And just sort of on that note, like something I've been thinking about and something to sort of discuss with you guys, like right now. And I'm not saying this is bad. I'm actually saying this is the right thing to do. Star Wars exists in sort of these different flavors and mediums, right? Like you have stuff that's very clearly geared towards children. Mm-hmm. You have stuff that's geared towards people who like certain eras, original trilogy, prequel trilogy, the Mandalorian, universe is its own thing. We're addressing all these audiences, and now Andor, I think. Certainly now in season 2, Andor has become quote unquote Star Wars for adults. Like
the mature version. Yeah.
I don't think Rogue One was more grounded, but I think still a 10-year-old can go see Rogue One and love it, like a Star Wars movie. Andor season 1 got a little darker. This season, even just saying the word rape in Star Wars, like kind of sends up
big
some
deal.
flags.
And
it's very clearly now, not just prestige TV Star Wars, but Star Wars for adults. And when Andor wraps up, are they going to continue this kind of subgenre? Are they going to address the Star Wars for adults with some other series? There was like a news item a while back where Tony Gilroy said Star Wars or Lucasfilm was working on a horror project within Star Wars, which made me think, maybe that's going to be the next kind of for adults piece of the equation.
So I really think that they are happy with Andor and the success of Andor, even if it's not bringing in the biggest numbers. Just it's the show that they bank on, like that now with Star Wars.
It's the prestige, it's the award buzz.
Like I drive around and I see bus stop ads for Andor. I've never seen that for another Star Wars show. Maybe Mando season 2 or 3, I think maybe, but. Like they are pushing this one, and that's great to see. They've got all the confidence in it. They're happy with it. So I got to think that they're going to continue something along these lines. The fact that Bo Willimon wrote these episodes and the Narkina arc last season, and is writing the Mangold Jedi, it makes me think that could be
true
Star Wars, like a Star Wars movie for this audience.
And what we sort of know, I mean, it's not the same project, but. If you can time travel back a few years to when Benioff and Weiss were connected to Star Wars, there were the rumors that they were actually going to be doing this sort of trilogy or series that was going to be the Old Republic kind of story. And that seems to have now shifted to this Dawn of the Jedi, the origins of the Jedi, kind of 10,000 years in the past story. So, I mean, given how adult themed Game of Thrones is, I could see that kind of rubbing off on Dawn of the Jedi.
It'd be interesting to see them try it in a movie, like as opposed to, because at the moment it feels like the shows, they can play around, they can do different things and make Star Wars for all sorts of different groups, which I'm a big fan of, because you don't have to like everything, but there's a bit of something for everyone. but the movies still feel like they're quite 4-quadrant. Like they're trying to appease to the masses. And I think they're definitely doing that with Mando and Grogu. That's what that movie is. It's here's your ice cream, eat it, you'll like it. Like
it's Disney family crowd for sure.
Yeah. Which we've talked about it before, where it's like they probably do need that just for an easy win right now, like to get the confidence back up. But after that, try stuff, guys. Like just do it. Like you've seen it on TV how it can be successful. So do it in movies. People will come out if it's good.
When you see the bus stop ads and when you see any of the advertisements and the trailers for Andor season 2, they really they show all the critic reviews, all the glowing critical praise from everybody who loves the show. They also call this the final season, which I think is a way to say, like, if you haven't watched the show and haven't heard about it,
catch up.
This is the end. Catch up. They're not saying season 2. They're saying the final season. I think they're really also pushing to get some more Emmy nominations, Emmy wins. And I feel like if they can get just enough viewers to the show and an Emmy win, that's going to help the Star Wars brand. And that's when they decide, okay,
let's greenlight another show
for us to do something like this.
This is also crazy to think about, but next year will be the 10th anniversary of Rogue One. And so to me, it would make a lot of sense after Andor, like, to do a theatrical re-release of Rogue One and sort of get people excited about that again.
There was news last week about Carlton Hughes, who's still got a lot of stink on his name, if you ask me. But his son Nick Hughes as well. Like they're doing a show apparently or something.
That's right.
They're doing a Star Wars show. That could be the next mature adult thing. Like
sure. Could also be that horror project because didn't they do Bates Motel?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, that could easily be the horror thing. Like,
and Nick worked on Watchmen.
Yep. We've obviously got mixed feelings with the lost of it all with Carlton, but like,
I mean,
Ralph, you
getting lost of it all.
Like,
it's
there's
it's tough.
It's tough. That's a whole different
my sort of relationship with Carlton is a little tough. We had a bit of a contentious sort of back and forth before he agreed to be in the documentary. Met him during the documentary, had some heartfelt conversations, because it was, the first time he was going public with the allegations. And so like prior to the interview, I had a one-on-one conversation while the crew was setting up. That was very, I don't know how you put this, but it felt like when you bring home you bring home a bad report card and your mom says, we'll talk about this when your dad gets home, kind of thing. Like that's how I felt. He was acting a little sheepish, concerned, because I mean, here he is, he's going to do this interview on this thing, and he doesn't know what it's going to be like, in that process. We made sure to make him at least comfortable and not broadside him. We weren't trying to get him or anything and trying to
it's not that it wasn't so that documentary. It wasn't for that.
Presented him with the questions ahead of time, and he actually went over those questions with Nick. And Nick was in the room too. So I also got to spend time with Nick. So I can say my relationship since is I could say he's very polite to me. He's a very good guy to me and Stevie. We ended up at a dinner where we sat next to Carlton and his wife for 3 hours and had lots of conversations. I talked to him a little bit about this thing that we figured out or found out during the making of the documentary about the island itself. It's on a DVD extra. If you have the Blu-ray of Getting Lost, there's a whole sci-fi element to the show that was not on the surface. That
if you're interested in
Lost,
go and check it out. It's so
I need to watch that. I have the physical copy, but I have not watched the special feature.
Dude, go and
watch the special feature with Javier Grillo Marx watch about what the island is. And then pop it in. But anyway, I'm super happy for Nick and Carlton. I mean, shit, anyone getting the opportunity to do a Star Wars is great. And again, what I told Carlton that day, I said, hey, the whole point of Lost is all about redemption. Everybody on that island shows up to the island broken, and these accusations that were made were, from like 20 years ago. People change. It's the whole point of like the documentary. It's the whole point about Lost. And so it's one of those things where it's like, I don't know what happened. I wasn't there.
Yeah.
The dude's super nice to me. The stories are really, really fucking rough to read.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
he was able to come to us and talk about it. Apologized. But it's one of those things where I'm like, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. I'm excited if Lucasfilm thinks that it's okay for him to come on board, then they must see it as well.
I think if they're bringing him in now, in retrospect, after all of this stuff, like when this is all out there, people know all about all of this stuff. If people are still working with him, I hope that means that they've like vetted and they've done their own internal. Yeah, and it's like, but
it was also a very social thing, like a social gathering, not like in the pressures of working on like the biggest network show ever. And also I want to say, like, Damon, who also had a great relationship with Damon around the time that book came out that talked about Carlton and Damon was
working on
his Star Wars project.
Yep.
And we don't know why, but it was roughly around the same time. And I'm assuming Damon was devastated.
I wanted to ask about that too, because you interviewed both of them, and like Damon and Carlton do they still have a relationship? Like, because they haven't really worked together since.
Right.
I mean, the fact that Nick was on Watchmen, which was Damon's show, sort of thing. Like, there's going to be some sort of connection, I would have thought. Yeah.
I'll say this.
I don't think you worked with someone for that long. Wow, unless you're Simon and Garfunkel, I guess. But like,
I believe that they absolutely do have a relationship, at least personally. Because one was instrumental in getting the other to join us. So, Damon was so awesome with us. Carlton was awesome with us. So it's tough to just say, did you learn your lesson? Did you make amends? Like, it's so tough, like, how do you ask that to somebody?
Yeah.
But the way they were talking and stuff, like, they fully understood. But for me, it's like Carlton's getting a Star Wars show and Damon's doing Lanterns. And it's like, I'm like, I wish I knew either of these things before I walked into their offices. And the fucked up thing about Damon is he asked one request. We shot in his office on the Warner Brothers lot, and he said, just make sure you don't shoot towards my whiteboard.
Like, oh yeah.
Okay, great. So we moved the whiteboard to the other side of the room, and it was turned around. The very next day, Damon was rumored to be working on Lanterns, and I'm like, fuck, I should have looked at that whiteboard. I wish. That's funny. Because again, I have a quarter scale Kyle Rayner statue in my room.
That's serious.
Really tell, but right here, this is a He-Man guy, and this is a Kyle Rayner. Like, it's like, dude, Kyle Rayner's head is this big. Like, it's so anyway. I'm excited. Like, listen, man, I'm excited for any Star Wars. Carlton, again, personally, on a personal level, I went into his interview being very anxious because I knew what we had to talk about. But he was a good guy. I liked me. I don't know what else to say.
And look,
other people's, I feel really bad, and I hope those people find peace, and that the people who everyone involved were able to sort of ask for forgiveness and be forgiven, because otherwise, what the fuck is the point of being on this planet if you can't change? Everyone should be able to get a chance. It's like what Val said to that guy. Like, you're gonna remember her every day of your life. Yeah. He immediately has regret. He's immediately crying, and so it's one of those things where how does he bounce back? How does he become a better person? How does he take this mistake, own it, and then like go on? What is this dude gonna do? Is he gonna sacrifice himself for Val? Like that seems like the only thing he can do.
Or maybe he has in the interim, because I don't think we're ever going to see him again. But though we're going back to Ghorman, so maybe we will. Maybe we will.
But maybe this episode took place on BBY2 Eve. You know?
And that's the thing. Like, it could well be like we don't need to necessarily have a full year time jump. It could have been 6 months, but like it's gone over the calendar.
Yeah. This happened in December. And next week we'll get into January. January, BBY2.
Oh, speaking of space things, we got space pigeons and they were fucked up looking. Like more than like the regular pigeons.
I thought they were just regular pigeons. I'm like, oh, they just put pigeons here?
Yeah, I did it first. I was like, well, when you're shooting in London, like you're gonna get pigeons.
But then they got the necks.
So there's also I don't think you get a really good look at him in the show, but if you go watch the Declassified episode on Star Wars, like on their YouTube,
we got to watch
for this arc, they show this incredible like sloth baby puppet that is sitting in a guy's arms, like out in the square, like while they're having tea and stuff. It's this incredible.
I wanted to wait until we'd done this before I watched that behind the scenes, but I'm looking forward to it. I'll check it out, definitely.
I love I love that it's just flat out France. I'm assuming they're speaking French, which is great because
it's not directly French, but it's very, very.
They talk about that in Declassified too. They essentially create their own like Esperanto out of French.
Yeah, brilliant.
Which is pretty cool.
But just using the French underground as like the background for these guys, it's
the beret. The beret is so on the nose and so funny, and I just loved it because I'm like, who cares? We know this show is made on Earth, and it's the most like over the head, like hitting Tony Gilroy, like hitting you over the head, like this is what this is supposed to represent. France during the occupation, like.
But you need this moment to galvanize them, to turn them full rebel, as opposed to just like having these clandestine meetings in basements. Now you need something that really pushes them.
And look, Star Wars historically, I mean, George rooted all of that stuff in history, whether it was just the footage of World War II or just, like the issues with Vietnam and stuff. So of course, it only makes sense to continue to pull for those things. So,
and then again, did it in the sequel and the prequels with War on Terror. Like like Star Wars has always been political and political of the moment. So I'm glad to see that they're continuing to do that. It's nice to see it and to see it done so well and like in an evergreen way. Like it's political of the moment, and it's like we can see the analogies so clearly because we're living through it. But like in 10, 15, 20 years time, when I sit down and watch this show again with my kid, like he's not going to like relate to like this stuff to the Trump administration or anything like that. But it's like,
hopefully.
Well, fuck, dude.
Year 20 of the dark times.
I mean, hopefully by next week we won't have to relate it to that either. But who knows? But it's great. Adam, I know you've got a hard out at past, and we've been going for a long time. I mean, we could talk about this show forever. So you're always welcome back on, like, for the next couple of weeks. We said the same thing to Jacob. Like, you guys
got the link.
You got the link. You got an open invite.
I'm gonna send Jacob.
We won't book you for next week, but like, if you want to jump in, just jump in. You don't need to stay in the comments.
Yeah, Jacob has the link. He didn't show up, but I'm gonna send it to him next week. Adam, I'll send it to you. I'm gonna just keep piling it on and sending the link to people.
Sure.
And then Alex says he's glad he found out about you.
Well, where else can he read more of your work, Adam? Because Adam's stuff is always worth checking out. And Alex, even if this is just going to you, Adam, tell people where they can find you.
Yeah. So I'm on Blue Sky. You can find me by my name, or Poppin' Pizza at B-Sky, whatever the address is. But I have a newsletter called Poppin' Pizza where I just sort of write about whatever interests me, movies, weird paranormal stuff, conspiracy theory kind of stuff. Just anything I think that's really bizarre.
You never know what you're going to get, and I love that about it. It's so fun.
Anything I want to delve deeper into. So yeah, you can check me out there, and just follow me on Blue Sky and interact with me there.
Have you done one on number stations?
No.
I'm fascinated by number stations.
Yeah, I think we've talked about this before. Yeah,
I love
list
about number stations
of weird things. I have number stations on there.
There you go. Guest columnist Ralph, maybe.
I tried starting a Substack, and as soon as I did, people got mad at me, or people were mad because it's like bad.
I moved off of Substack to Ghost.
Like, where can I just be? Like, I just want to show my pictures and talk about my photo sessions, and it's like, I give up. Yeah. I'm on Blue Sky. Follow us on Blue Sky. We're on Blue Sky. Adam hopefully will have a new logo for his Poppin' Pizza very soon. I've been so slow to work on it. I feel bad. We're this close, I think. We're this close.
Yeah.
I just need to do a couple of tweaks, and it's good. James is probably still writing on his thing. That's always in our show notes. It's still in our show notes.
I haven't written on that thing in about 3 years, maybe more. I am not doing anything. If you want to see pictures every now and then of like dog walks or maybe the back of my kid's head or something, like go and follow me on Instagram. But other than that, like,
I would say better. I know you guys are on a hiatus, but go to Top 10 Tacos. Listen to that podcast.
Like we'll be back with that at some point. Like as soon as we get a chance to eat a meal together at the same time, hopefully out. Then we'll talk about it on a podcast. But
Lanterns Live and follow Apple Film.
Go check out Ralph's photography.
Really.
Great.
Okay. All right. Let's get out of here.
Thank
you, everybody, for joining us.
Always. We will be back next week to talk about episodes. What is it going to be? 7, 8, and 9. Which, if they're following the trend, we got the first one, then we got a heist in the second arc, which is the same as season 1. So another prison break. Maybe a breakout of the Senate. Maybe Ghorman massacre is probably the most likely.
Oh my gosh! I would love to see like a escort mission, Mon Mothma and Andor out of the Senate.
Love it.
And then she goes down into Bale, shows up with his convertible.
Yes.
Drops
into
out the
hiding.
bottom.
She must go.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Thanks everyone for joining us. We will see you next week. Until then, don't give it to hate.
Celebrate the love.
Punch it.